Have you ever looked up at the night sky, spotted that faint red dot, and wondered what secrets it holds? For centuries, Mars has captured our imagination. But what if the stories we've been told are just the tip of the iceberg? What if the red planet is hiding something extraordinary, something that could change everything we know about our place in the universe? Today, we journey into the shadows of space exploration to uncover the most compelling and controversial conspiracy theories surrounding Mars. From the moment our first probes sent back grainy images of its surface, Mars has been a source of mystery. There was the infamous face on Mars in the Cydonia region, captured by the Viking 1 orbiter in 1976. NASA dismissed it as a trick of light and shadow on a mesa, a geological formation. But for many, it was irrefutable proof of intelligent design, a monument left by a long-lost civilization. Higher resolution images years later showed a heavily eroded hill, yet the legend of the Martian face persists. Was it just a psychological phenomenon called pareidolia, where our brains see familiar patterns in random shapes? Or was it the first clue that we were not alone? The face was just the beginning. As our rovers, like Curiosity and Perseverance, began to explore the Martian terrain in stunning detail, a new wave of anomalies emerged. Internet sleuths and anomaly hunters pore over every image released by NASA, finding things that seem completely out of place. There are objects that look like animal skulls, fossilized bones, and even what some claim is a metallic dome half buried in the dust. One of the most famous is the Mars rat, a rock that uncannily resembles a rodent. While geologists explain these as uniquely shaped rocks sculpted by wind and erosion over millions of years, others argue they are signs of past or even present life. Could NASA be deliberately hiding this evidence? This is the core of many Mars conspiracies. The theory goes that the images we see are not the raw data. Proponents claim NASA sanitizes the photos, airbrushing out evidence of artificial structures, vegetation, and even living creatures. Some have pointed to inconsistencies in color, arguing that NASA intentionally tints the images with a reddish filter to make the planet look more barren and lifeless than it really is. True color images, they say, would reveal a planet with blue skies and patches of green, a world far more Earth-like and hospitable. Why would they hide this? The motives proposed are vast: to prevent global panic, to maintain control over advanced alien technology, or perhaps to protect a secret that is far bigger than just life on Mars. This leads us to one of the most audacious theories: the existence of secret human bases on Mars. According to some whistleblowers and insiders, humanity has been on Mars for decades, part of a clandestine space program operating in the shadows. They speak of a breakaway civilization, a faction of humanity with technology far beyond what is publicly known, including anti-gravity propulsion and faster-than-light travel. These secret programs, allegedly funded by black budgets, have supposedly established colonies and mining operations on both the Moon and Mars, creating a parallel human society off-world. One popular variation of this theory involves a 20-and-back program. Individuals claim to have been covertly recruited into a secret space fleet serving a 20-year tour of duty on Mars or other celestial bodies, only to be age-regressed and memory wiped before being returned to their original timeline just moments after they left. It sounds like science fiction, but those who make these claims often provide startlingly detailed accounts of their alleged experiences, describing Martian infrastructure and interactions with native Martian species. Could these be elaborate hoaxes, or are they fragmented memories of an experience too fantastic to believe? And what of these native Martians? If a civilization once thrived there, what happened to it? The ancient civilization theory suggests Mars was once a lush, water-filled world, home to a highly advanced society. A cataclysmic event, perhaps a planetary war, a massive asteroid impact, or a gradual atmospheric collapse, rendered their world uninhabitable. Some theorists believe the survivors either perished, went underground into vast subterranean cities, or even fled their dying planet and came to Earth, becoming the gods of our ancient mythologies. Pyramids and other monumental structures on Earth, they argue, are echoes of a lost Martian architectural style. The face on Mars and the nearby pyramids of Cydonia are seen as the last remnants of this fallen empire. Perhaps the most futuristic and tantalizing of all Martian conspiracies is the space elevator. The concept is simple: a super strong cable stretching from the surface of a planet all the way up to a counterweight in geostationary orbit. It would allow for the cheap and efficient transport of people and materials into space, revolutionizing exploration and colonization. Officially, building a space elevator on Earth is beyond our current material science. We just don't have a material strong enough. But what about on Mars? Mars has significantly lower gravity and a thinner atmosphere, making the engineering challenges far more manageable. The conspiracy theory here isn't just that we could build one, but that one already exists. Some anomaly hunters claim to have found evidence of towering, impossibly thin structures in NASA images, suggesting a secret elevator is already in operation, ferrying resources and personnel between the surface and an orbital station hidden from public view. Inspired by whispers from late-night radio waves and declassified documents, this is your dive into the impossible. Buckle up, or should I say, strap into the elevator? Imagine it's August 21st, 2005. The airwaves crackle with Coast to Coast AM, hosted by the legendary Art Bell. The guest, Sir Charles Schultz III, isn't just talking about fossils on Mars. He is unveiling visions of space elevator technology, colossal tethers that could hoist humanity from Earth straight into the stars. Schultz paints a picture of orbiting stations beaming solar energy back home. But why stop there? Why not extend that ladder to Mars itself? A base for experiments, testing the limits of our ingenuity against the Martian dust storms. He says, we could collect energy from the sun and beam it down. But as listeners lean in closer, he hints at Mars' hidden history. Fossils, anomalies, a planet that once pulsed with life. Fast forward to November 10th, 2011. Coast to Coast AM again, this time with George Norrie. Enter Andrew D. Biago, an attorney and alleged time-space explorer. His tale is straight out of a sci-fi thriller. As a child in DARPA's Project Pegasus, Biago claims he was whisked through jump rooms, elevators, portals in disguise, from El Segundo, California, right to the surface of Mars. No rockets, no months-long voyages. Just step in, and you're there. Trained by Major Ed Dames, they prepared for Martian humanoids and predators. Biago describes bases hidden in the Crimson Canyons, experiments on terraforming, and even brushes with future presidents. It was the 1970s, he recounts, and we were already there. Skeptics scoffed, but the radio lines lit up with callers sharing their own dreams of red dunes and domed cities. Is this the space elevator reimagined? Not a cable, but a quantum leap? But let's climb higher. The concept of a true space elevator isn't just radio fodder. It's engineering on the very edge of possibility. Picture this: a tether forged from carbon nanotubes stronger than steel, anchored to Earth's equator and stretching 96,000 kilometers into space. Japan's Obayashi Corporation announced plans in 2012 to build one by 2050, a floating Earthport, with climbers zipping up at 200 kilometers per hour. No more billion-dollar rocket launches. Cargo to orbit for pennies. And for Mars? Slingshot from the apex. And you're hurtling toward the red planet in as little as 40 days, not the grueling 6 to 8 months we face now. Mars, however, has its own twist. Its low gravity, just a third of Earth's, means a Martian elevator could be half as demanding to build. Yet, Phobos, its potato-shaped moon, orbits too low for a traditional setup. The solution? Anchor a tether from Phobos itself, dangling it down toward Mars' surface. A downward elevator, thousands of kilometers long. Imagine colonists stepping off, descending into Valles Marineris for experiments on radiation shielding or mining for fusion fuel. The International Space Elevator Consortium dreams big. Daily launches to Mars colonies and lunar villages. No more waiting 26 months for planetary alignment. Just release from the apex, and off you go, arriving in 61 days flat. Now, we descend into the shadows. May 22nd, 1984. A sterile room deep within the CIA. This is Project Stargate, psychic spies, remote viewing, the art of projecting consciousness across space and time. The target? Mars, 1 million years BC. The viewer, eyes closed, mind adrift, receives coordinates: 40.89 degrees north, 9.55 degrees west, the Cydonia region, home to the infamous face on Mars. I see an oblique view of a pyramid, the viewer intones. Very large, weathered, like it's been there forever. Deeper into the session, he describes obelisks piercing the sky and roads etched into the ochre soil. And people, very large people, thin and tall, clad in silken garments. He sees them as refugees, fleeing a cataclysm. The air is thin, storms rage. A dying race, scanning the cosmos for salvation. One group hibernates in chambers, awaiting rescue. Another ventures to a new world, perhaps Earth. The transcript is chilling. They're waiting for a new era. The coordinates shift. More pyramids, a monument like Washington's obelisk, but colossal. At another location, a hive of activity, aqueducts channeling scarce water. At the South Pole, a barren refuge where survivors etch warnings into stone. The psychic, perhaps the famous Joe McMoneygle, reports a raw sense of vastness and loss. These documents, declassified in 2000, fuel intense debates. Were ancient Martians our ancestors? Did they seed life here on Earth? When you tie it all together, a fascinating picture emerges. Coast-to-coast guests like Bayago echo these visions, his jump rooms sounding like modern echoes of ancient portals. Schultz's elevators seem like blueprints for reclaiming Mars' lost legacy. And the CIA's psychic glimpses? They feel like a warning. Mars isn't dead, it's just dormant, whispering through psychics and scientists alike. The bases for experiments they describe aren't just for testing technology, but for testing our place in the cosmos. As we approach 2050, with Obayashi's tether potentially rising and NASA's rovers probing the Martian dust, we have to ask, are we building elevators to Mars, or rediscovering ones that were long forgotten? The Red Planet calls. Will you answer? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, be sure to follow for more explorations into the mysteries that surround us.